Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. 5G has nothing to do with Covid-19. That hasn't stopped the internet from spreading rumors and from people believing them.
The virus wasn't on our radar. It wasn't on anybody's radar here. And so I kind of rolled my eyes like, oh, really? Come on. It seemed a little melodramatic, you know.
We hear from some of the nearly 500,000 people who have survived Covid-19. Donald Trump announces another Covid-19 council which contains 0 health experts but 2 family members. The internet has its fun. And some ducks walking behind a cop is just the kind of non-Covid-19 content we can endorse today. And top of our newsfeed, the 5G conspiracy, a new technology designed to make the transfer of data quicker and more efficient, has been a source of worry for some due to its newness and a lack of understanding as to how it works. It's now being blamed for the pandemic, and social media is facilitating the spread of the conspiracy. Here's Ezra with some facts.
Many scientists and researchers are racing to find treatments and a vaccine for COVID-19. But some people claim to have an answer. Conspiracy theorists are linking 5G networks to the pandemic.
I think this is part of the New World Order plan to gain control of the entire population of the planet. Wuhan was actually like the preliminary test site for the coronavirus. It was also the first city to test out the 5G network. But people don't understand the repercussions of 5G because it's a military weapon. It's gonna really it up for the next generation. So what is 5G? You might have this in mind, but it's actually the next generation of wireless technology that's steadily being rolled out around the world. The network is designed to connect virtually everyone and everything, including machines, appliances and devices. But for the average consumer, it means faster speeds, higher bandwidth and lower lag times. But claims are being made that the virus can somehow be transmitted through 5G technology. Another suggests the radiation it generates weakens the immune system, making more people susceptible to the virus. Scientists have debunked the ideas, but some people, including celebrities, haven't been persuaded.
But what I don't accept is mainstream media immediately slapping that down as not true when they don't know it's not true. No one should attack or damage or do anything like that, but it's very easy to say it is not true because it suits the state narrative. That's all I would say as someone with an inquiring mind.
The presenter later clarified his comments, saying there's no scientific evidence to substantiate any of those 5G theories. But technology has been efficient in spreading these suspicions. This tweet takes it one step further. And apparently, the new Bank of England £20 note has a subliminal message.
That is a 5G tower. Can you see the hologram? Can you see the rings going around the 5G tower? That is the radiation that it will give off. And lo and behold, above it is the sign for coronavirus.
The conspiracies have resulted in arson attacks and sabotage against 5G cell towers. Throughout history, conspiracy theories have tended to spread slowly, but online they can spread out further and faster. A study in the scientific journal Science found that fake news was 70% more likely to be retweeted than factual stories. So one's a virus and the other is a wireless communications technology, and both of them seem to be spreading at breakneck speed. Okay, let's take a look at some other COVID-19 related stories that you may have missed.
The World Health Organization say there are 70 vaccines currently being developed to prevent people from getting COVID-19. It's reported that 3 vaccines are now in human trials. The race to get a vaccine has been accelerated and streamlined, removing the animal testing phase. Now that could be dangerous, but the danger is outweighed by the clamour to have a drug that works. Vaccines normally take 10 to 15 years to come to market. They want the COVID-19 one in 12 to 18 months or sooner. The risk to children of measles remains ever present and could worsen due to COVID-19. The UN Children's Emergency Fund say 100 million children could be at risk of not being vaccinated against measles as mass vaccination programs are suspended to reduce the spread of COVID-19. There was a huge spike in measles cases last year as people avoided vaccinations or did not have access to them. 140,000 people died from the illness in 2019. Amazon is hiring 75,000 new staff across the world to help with the surge in business as actual shops are shut and people on lockdown are buying things online. Amazon have also announced a pay rise of $2 and $2 Canadian and €2 in some European countries. People in Indonesia are being scared into staying home. Authorities have been sending people out dressed as goats or pokong, which represent trapped souls of the dead. They are wandering villages on the island of Java, and apparently since they started appearing, parents and children have not left home. And this is the last post being played in the Belgian town of Ypres. It honours the 300,000 or so people who died in the battle for the town during the First World War. It's been played at 8 p.m. every evening since 1929, and despite the lockdown, it continues. Ypres had 5 battles fought over it during the war of 1914 to 1918. It saw the first large-scale use of poison gas in warfare. The area was described by the poet Siegfried Sassoon as the world's worst wound. Now, there have been more than 120,000 deaths from COVID-19, but more than 450,000 people have recovered from it. And for those who have beaten the disease, now is a time for reflection and introspection. Lila has this.
Regret, they say, always comes too late. It certainly did for Daniel Goldstein. After he tested positive for COVID-19, the New Yorker started considering all the precautions he could have taken.
We were in a restaurant, we saw 2 women come in with face masks. And Elena and I were discussing our future plans, given that she's from Spain, I'm here, and these people come in and we notice it, and it's just, the virus wasn't on our radar. It wasn't on anybody's radar here. And so I kind of rolled my eyes like, oh, really, come on. It seemed a little melodramatic, and looking back, what a fool I was.
You'd think it would be even tougher for the elderly during a pandemic, with people over 60 at higher risk of death. But when Gertrude Faton was diagnosed in Switzerland, she says she had no fear.
Was I afraid? No, I wasn't afraid of dying, because at my age, 95 after all, it's time to go. But I didn't think I was going to die, absolutely not. I was not afraid.
For some like Hilton Murray Phillipson in the UK, spending time in an intensive care unit gave him a new appreciation of life.
You do begin to doubt whether you can go on, how much longer you can take it. Here I am, and I'm seeing the world again through the eyes of a child. And I see how beautiful everything is, how amazing everything is, and I'm just blown away by being here.
For some who've beaten the virus, another battle lies ahead, fighting the stigma. Despite testing negative twice after his treatment, Park Hyun's neighbors in South Korea insist he keeps himself isolated.
One of my neighbors was screaming that because of your son, all our family must be die. So that I can understand why they are doing, because it's nervous. So I think I have to use stairs instead of the elevator to make them comfort.
But for those lucky enough to recover from COVID-19, celebrating life has become very important. Like this patient in Turkey, who simply danced like he had no care in the world.
Okay, we'll keep spinning around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Tuesday. Satellite data published by an organization called Eyes on Earth is said to prove that China caused a major drought in Myanmar, Thailand, Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam by limiting the flow of the Mekong River. There are many dams on the river in China and they, according to this research, controlled how much water flows to other nations to such an extent that drought was caused while Chinese regions had an abundance. Another deadly pathogen is attacking olive trees all over Europe. It's called Xylella fastidiosa and it's killed millions of trees in Italy. It's spread by insects and the worry is Greece, Spain and Turkey could be next. And as with COVID-19, there is no cure for the infection. Its effects will make olives, olive oil and other olive-related products more expensive.
Black leather glove, no sequin. Buckles on the jacket, it's elite. Nike crossbody got a piece and gotta dance, but it's really on so street.
And this is the latest bit of content from Drake and it's made him a record breaker. It's his third song to debut at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It's far from his best work and proof that the world is a little bit off kilter right now.
Dance with me, no, I could.
Well, President Donald Trump held one of his most unpresidential media conferences last night, and that's really saying something considering the way he's behaved while speaking to journalists in the past 3.5 years. During it, he lied about how quickly he'd responded to the pandemic and said he has absolute authority over what states do. He does not. And he announced a council of people to deal with how the US economy reopens. It contains not one doctor or scientist, but 2 members of his family.
We're also setting up a council of very great doctors and business people. We're going to be announcing it on Tuesday. Some great people. This is beyond economic. This is really, I call it the Opening Our Country Task Force or Opening Our Country Council, so we don't get it confused with Mike's task force, which has done so great. And we're going to have the great business leaders, great doctors. We're going to have a great group of people.
And last up, for some COVID-19 relief, there is this video from Houston in Texas. It's a policeman doing his best mother duck impression and providing an escort for a group of ducklings. There, better to look at than people dying from an incurable disease, I'm sure you'll agree. And that will do you from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. You'll find me as always at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. You can subscribe to that channel and you can follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe and add stay at home, eftekal, wash your hands, and I will see you again tomorrow.